Yes. Today, as we start this show, this one mic, yeah, I'm hyped here. I'm on my last uh, leg here in Maui. You're gonna hear the roosters in the background. I'm about to go back to that Midwest weather over here when my brothers are out there. I'm about to put my boots and my long johns on and get going. But I'm going to embrace this here as we enter 2022 with our first episode of One Mic. And, I got my guys in the building, bringing that energy with it. So it's good. Like the title of this show, this episode is life and times. The more things change, the more things remain the same. We on the dawn of the college football, and here we go. Bama showing up again. See them right now. Get ready for the media day. So we're gonna get into that later on, and a whole bunch of other things that are just kind of out there keeping us there. More things change, more things remain the same. We got AB acting a fool. What's new? So we're going to have a lot of stuff we're going to be able to get into, but I got to bring my co-host into the building. Let me start with the youngin', my man, Darnell Kirkland Jr. How you doing, man? You got your long johns on?
Oh yeah, shoot! I got the long john, I got the big old coat and everything. But yeah,
Ooh.
we was getting ready for a great day, a big game today, Michigan State. I was probably gonna be in the building. I was about to go up there, but hey, it looks like another game got canceled. Which
I told
it
y'all we
is
walking
what
that
it
green mile, that COVID mile. I told y'all 2 shows ago. Here we go. Yeah,
is.
just right. That was gonna be right there in your backyard. I saw the message. They gonna try
And
and
over,
reschedule.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
I was going, but yeah,
Mm,
but yeah,
mm.
it is what it is.
It is
We
what
got
it
another big
is.
game coming up Monday.
Mm, What's up, Hammer? What's happening?
I'm doing well, man. Less than highly favored, doing well. So yeah, so
All
yep. So
right, this is all good. We got the gang here. We all doing. We still waiting for Hank, but
no,
he
with
he
no
joined.
long johns, no long johns. I don't wear. I only wear long johns one time. That's the golf, outside in the cold. But I don't like long johns. They get too hot, man.
Yeah, I used to wear them back in the day. You right, but they used to get hot, and they feel like
Man,
it feel
too
like you
hot,
got
man.
some skinny jeans on. I can't do that. Like feel
Um,
like you got something on. Well, we want to thank
uh,
our sponsors for the episode here. I mean, our folks from Bowman Medical Group. We want to thank them. They provide comprehensive services. Please go and check them out at bowmanmedicalgroup.com. If you are looking for services, they have teleservices for y'all folks outside of LA. And then obviously those direct services for people in the LA area. So we want to thank our guy, Dr. PJ Bowman, for supporting us. And then My Match Development Group, they are changing the way we develop communities. Go check out My Match Development Group and find out how they are changing communities. So thank them for being the sponsors with us today. We're gonna go on the back page. We're gonna get going. It sounds like the youngin has some hot stuff, so we're gonna come back to him last on this, so he can get us we're gonna have him come in last like we the five heartbeats. We only got three. We like the OJs. We'll go with Hammer first. What you got on your back page, and I'm coming back over to Darnell.
sadly, it's AB. Who else could it be? I mean,
But we
obviously,
we 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 get into him a little bit now. You don't get too deep in it. Don't we got him? Don't we got him on
well, I mean, I think
another?
we have. I mean, it's more complicated in the sense of the injury, and
Yeah.
again, for us to play fantasy football, in my last league, in my old school league, where we
Mm,
had about points, 5 out of 10 in that league. Your league, I got
yeah.
whooped, but I whooped you. So, but the bottom line is that, yeah,
A broke clock's
you look at injury.
right twice a day. So yeah, you got me.
Bruh, I had a lot of injuries, man. So I
Same here.
wasn't, but we can talk
Yeah,
again. Hey, brother, the bottom line is that you win some, you lose some. I was in the
that's right.
final last year and lost. So you've been in it. So hey, I'm just poking fun, being jovial. But seriously, I know we just have there's a lot of complicated factors. I mean, if you watch Fancy, you knew that AB had some type of ankle injury.
Mm,
You knew he was out for a game as well as the COVID vaccination card, controversy or really fraudulent. But the bottom line is that yeah, AB has some serious, seems like serious mental health issues, but there's some underlying things where there's some arguments about whether or not he was healthy enough to play. I mean, that's something, again, we have some people who play football here and, someone Darnell I respect as far as playing with injuries. Is this an injury that AB should play with? I mean, we got people, Tom Brady played the whole year, right, with a torn MCL last, didn't tell anybody, which I got problems with too. That he should have done an injury report, right? But of course he wasn't. But the main thing is that you got this shenanigans, this Instagram model talking about stuff that obviously is not for the FCC, and just a lot of clowning. And this is a sad story. We're looking at AB, just how he's disintegrated, over the years, and how there were warning signs in Pittsburgh. And you don't get rid of a type of talent like that, like you do AB to the Raiders, unless you have problems. And him in the fur coat and all that mess. So yeah, the bottom line is that we just have to keep him in the prayers. He's not doing well. I also think there's a backstory where I think there is some controversy as far as whether or not how hurt he was. And then, just some of the language during the cut, I knew this, like, you ain't cutting nobody on the sideline. Man, that's a joke. I mean, you can't do a transaction on the sideline. I mean, again, so we knew he wasn't cut on the sideline. That's the biggest joke going. But then he was cut afterwards, and there's rumors the Packers want him. And I guess Ty Haley offered him a contract in the USFL. He told him, don't insult me. So it's a sad commentary for someone who, he probably will make the Hall of Fame regardless of the clowning, but he's really hurt his legacy. So that's the thing that I hate to see, especially feel. I think as black men, we can't be out here clowning like that. It's going to be a forever stain on us. We don't have, second chances or repeats like our Marv Albert did and other people like that. We're bringing a scarlet letter. The scarlet letter stays. It doesn't get to get washed away. So it's unfortunate, man. But yeah, we can get a deeper insight for in other parts. Yeah.
So for y'all listening coming in, that's called a tease. So Hammer set this up. He's giving you his position. We'll weigh in here once we get it to the cipher and get a little deeper on AB. But yeah, he got us warmed up for AB. Youngin, what's on your back page? You said you had your back page is full. It's Saturday though, so maybe it's good to have a number of items on your back page. I'm here with my coffee and my oatmeal, so that's the kind of thing you do. Old school, you open the paper up and read. So
Yeah,
tell me what I should be
I was
reading.
on mute. I was on mute, but on my back page is Johnny Davis. Johnny Davis is an
Did
animal.
I tell you?
Johnny Davis.
Did
Johnny
I tell
Davis.
you?
Yeah,
Go
you
ahead.
told me. And
He
like Devon
baller.
always said, we got to see him up at the Maui. But yeah, oh man, Johnny Davis is an animal. Him and Jaden Ivey, they had they did battle the other day, and Jaden Ivey, he got into early foul trouble, so he wasn't able to be really a part of it in the first half, but in the second half he really picked it up and he brought Purdue brought Purdue back into the game. But man, Johnny Davis, he has a certain competitiveness about him that I love. I love watching him. And shoot, if the Pistons don't get the first or second pick, I wouldn't mind trading Killian Hayes and bringing Johnny Davis home, man. But yeah, shoot, man,
Are
Johnny
you
Davis.
talking lottery? Did I say lottery
I'm
for that
talking.
game?
You said first round. I'm talking lottery.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
talking
a mock
lottery.
for him number 5, man. I don't think. I mean, the mock I look at,
I'm
he's number.
talking
From
lottery.
Lacrosse,
Johnny Davis is
Number
an
Wisconsin.
15.
animal.
Yes.
I don't think
He
number
has
5.
a competitiveness that you need. Like
Yes.
like Wisconsin, they ranked 23, and when we was in the Maui, they wasn't ranked at all. But Purdue is a team that I talked to we talked to Jay Billis when we were up at the Maui Invitational, and Jay Billis was saying that he thought Purdue was at the time he thought Purdue was the best team in the country, and Johnny Davis is a guy he takes matchups personally, and when he's one of those guys. Coach Westphal always says this. A lot of times it's about being at your best when your best is needed. And when Johnny Davis and when Wisconsin needs a bucket and when they need somebody to take over, Johnny Davis is a guy he really takes it on himself to take over that game. And his offensive game is interesting because he's bringing, the mid range is coming back. They said the mid range is dead, but we got guys in the league now like DeMar DeRozan, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, Kevin Durant that all dominate in the mid range. And Johnny Davis is a guy. His offensive game kind of reminds me a little bit of Jimmy Butler, the way he uses his body. He knows how to use his body. He's real physical, and he invites the contact, and he can bounce off guys and hit his mid range shots. And yeah, he's an animal. I want to pair him up with Cade Cunningham to see what we can do here in Detroit. But that's my back page right there.
Yeah, man. It's funny because when we were out of Maui, one of the top assistant coaches out there walked past me and said, "I told you," because he talked about before he came how good he was going to be, and last year they had kind of a weird year, and it felt like he wasn't
They
utilized.
held him back last
Yeah,
year.
they held him
They
back
held
a
him
little
back
bit
last year,
at,
man.
at a time when they probably should have just let him play. But this year, boy, they
Yeah.
said we're gonna release the hounds, and he's
They had
in
to look at the
his bag,
talent. I mean, they had to. Yeah, they had to.
man. It's just like great to watch. I'm gonna continue this theme on my back page. It's just, when are we just gonna give Tomlin his flowers? Like, another, I mean, coaching and another winning season, and just with all the stuff that he been dealing with, and then I think as we get into the AB conversation, it was the one tweet they, is basically they should he should be in the Hall of Fame just on the fact that he got AB to act right for a while. I mean, but just watch and see Ben, have his final game at Heinz Field this week, and just the way the fans came out, the way that game ended,
Do you really think that?
huh? Yeah,
Do you really
think
think
he's
that?
done. Yeah, I think he's done. Yeah, I
I
think
don't
he's.
think he's done. I really don't think he's done.
I think
I really
he's
don't.
not coming
Who's
back
gonna
to
be better?
Pittsburgh. He might not be done. He might not be done. He might
He
not
can
be
take a cap
done.
hit. He can take a cut.
Nah,
I'd
he
keep
ain't
him
come.
around as a
They can't go
backup.
through. They can't go through that. He don't. He don't. I love Ben, but like Snoop said on the pro broadcast, he said to the Mannings, save a seat for Ben up there next to y'all. Snoop, what? He like Snoop said Ben be audibleizing. He be just ignoring what the play caller said. He just go to his own. He got that audible where he throw that 2 yard out. Snoop had me on fire cracking up. But yeah, Ben gonna be doing something else. He not gonna be doing it in Pittsburgh. They gotta move on, man. They gotta move on. We trying to get back to Super Bowls,
You
and
don't know what,
we love
man.
Ben.
You don't know
We
who you
gave
got
we
playing
gave him that
tomorrow, man.
walk away, but we ain't doing that, man. We not gonna
Who's
be
gonna be
like
a
your
quarterback?
Bears. We
Who's
getting
gonna be a
rid of that.
quarterback?
They're
Who's
going
gonna
to
be a
figure that
quarterback?
out. That's
Is
why they got
Dwayne
one of the
Haskins?
best personnel groups in the group. They'll figure it out.
They do.
They'll figure it out. They'll find an option. But he not going to be. We gave you the hug. We let you run around the stadium. We did it the right way. We did it the right way. We it hurt us a little bit. Because we had to do. But that's what you got to do when you got a great player like that. You got to let him go out the way he need to go out. But yeah. Yeah, that was just that scene was a great scene at Heinz Field,
Great
in the way
team.
that
I
went
think
up.
they're putting dirt on the grave too soon. I mean, you
Nah,
look at him.
they already
He's
got
not that bad.
the convoy ready for him heading back to Ohio. We gonna make this run and try to see if we can get to this playoffs. We gonna try and do what we can do with the Ravens, make the run as much as we can, and then they got the convoy ready, got the bag packed. Now, if he end up playing for his hometown Browns or home state Browns
I
or
can see him with the
something like
Browns.
that,
That'd be a nice fit.
that
That'd be
could be
nice.
something he could do. All great ones show up in somebody else's uniform looking old.
Yeah.
Everybody can't do it like Tom Brady. But if he wants to choose to do that, we gonna love him, but we will hit him, and we will hit him hard. So it's one of those things he can go and do. But we gonna come after him. T.J. Watt going be on that other side to put him down, and T.J. Watt has just been killing it. My goodness,
Right.
playing hurt and putting up those numbers as well. So yeah, my Steelers, Tomlin, somehow, some way, I was like, there's no way in the world they're gonna make it to a winning record with this team this year. And he just found a way to keep them focused and still with a slim chance to make the playoffs. So, and then with Ben going out. All right, that was the back page. here. It was great. Now, a lot of times, this is the beginning of the year. I do themes for the year. I don't do like New Year's resolutions, but every year you wake up thinking, man, we have our little college football conversations and everything else, and you know, we get to all this muckety muck, all these things happening, and now we're here. It's Georgia and Alabama, the two teams we're talking about at the beginning of the year. Bama here, Georgia's here. Georgia's on our all can't trust it team. They won the all can't trust it bowl against Michigan, and they're here and they're trying to change their narrative. And then you got Bama, just kind of like little engine that could just keep not really a big engine that could. They just kind of the model consistency here. They're doing a media day right now, and they probably I got the volume off, but they're probably saying all the right things. They're gonna let that what they call it, they're not gonna let that poison get into their system. Yeah, now they somehow that rat poison. They somehow created this narrative that they're the underdogs. They're being disrespected. Even though I don't know, it's almost you can't almost remember when they're not in this game, but it's here, and it's ready to go. Darnell, I mean, I know you've been watching this, man, and paying attention to this. We're coming up with a few days away from game time. What's been your assessment of this? Have you changed in terms of what you think might happen on Monday night? What are your thoughts about as we come up here as Bama just shows up like taxes and death? just, you got taxes, death, and Bama. I'm done with this SEC, whatever. The rest of the rest of y'all. Now, I am a little tired. They did an intro to the show today. You're like, we're in Indianapolis and we got two Southern teams. Get over it. Now, I'm gonna jump through that screen and choke you. Like, come on, y'all, just get off of that. Kind of, get over it. Like, okay, all right. We doing this right now, but I'm over. I'm still gonna say it's really about the top. It's a top heavy, and it's really about Bama. But at this point, I'm just
Well,
gonna
the
leave it
whole
alone.
game is top heavy.
Yeah, but
But
go ahead.
yeah.
Go ahead, do your thing. I digress.
All right. So as far as this game goes, I'm a little nervous for Alabama, to be honest with you, because Alabama is
Okay,
they're not healthy. They're not healthy. Like
that's when I think they're the dangerous, the most dangerous
Josh
when they're not
Job went
healthy.
Josh Job went down. He's
Hmm.
hurt. I think he had foot surgery actually, so he's not going to be
Yeah,
not
yeah,
going to be in
foot
the
surgery.
game. Did he have foot surgery or did he had a
Oh, yeah,
some
foot.
kind of foot injury? Right?
Yeah, problem. But again, it ain't like they got somebody behind him who's Humpty Dumpty. I mean, they got 5 4 stars all day in Bama. So I ain't worried about Bama no health issue. You got someone like Brian Robinson who didn't get no run and then he's killing it. He waited his time. He didn't do like Jerome Ford go to Cincinnati. That brother stayed in the cut, and now he's a man. So I mean, I ain't worried about Bama. Bama
So
got kept.
yeah, as I
Somebody
was
next man
saying,
up. They concerned by that.
Josh Job he's hurt.
He's hurt.
He's
Yeah,
not playing. I'm pretty sure he's not playing. Jalen
he's not
Arbor
playing.
Davis he tried to play hurt last week, and he didn't look too good. And I think they had to pull him. I'm not sure, but yeah, they're not healthy. The offensive line, I think Emil Ekiyor he went down as well, and then Owens went down. I'm just like, oh man. It's just like I think they said J.C. Lasham's starting. I think J.C. Latham is starting. The freshman, he was the #1 tackle in the country last year coming out of high school, but he's starting at guard. I think he's starting at
Number one tackle
guard.
out of the
But
country.
then, yeah, but you gonna throw a freshman in there against Jordan Davis? I know he's talented, but he gonna have his hands full. I'm saying it's
Yeah,
gonna be
as I keep saying, it's like Creed 2. You got a balanced breakfast over there with Jordan Davis now.
yeah, it's gonna be
I
it's
got
gonna
a
be
lot of
tough. And
respect
at
for
the
when they
same
throwing
time,
Michigan line around.
it's at the same time on the other side of things, you playing a Georgia team that is going to be they're going to play angry. Like you said, today's media day, but I've been listening to a lot of the interviews, the player interviews, and stuff like that earlier in the week, and one in particular when Nolan Smith was talking about how he cried after the SEC game, the SEC
Mm.
championship game. I'm like, these dudes coming in here angry. Like this is going to be. We saw the type of energy that Georgia was on against Michigan. Georgia gonna be at a whole different. They gonna be playing with their hair on fire on Monday,
Mm.
and this O line they're gonna have to put it together, and they're gonna have to be able to hold up, and they're gonna have to give Bryce Young some time. If they can give Bryce Young some time, I think Alabama will be able to pull it out. But if they start struggling and Georgia will be able to and Georgia can pin their ears back, I think Alabama's going to be in some trouble. But that's my takeaway so far.
Man, I think you're on. I mean, I watched and I played a little defensive line. That's when you're trying to throw linemen out the club. The way Georgia's line went up against Michigan, they was throwing guys out the club. Guys who gonna get drafted in the first few rounds. Guys who are some great linemen who gonna have some great careers. These guys play like somebody took some food from their family. I mean, it was. I was like, man, this is like violently angry. These big fellas are like somebody don't disrespect. So it's gonna be interesting to see these two, go head up because yeah, this Georgia defensive line, like they were embarrassed, and you could tell somebody had a conversation with them in practice, and they was out there, like I said, they like Creed too. They was out in the desert running, like Michael B. Jordan, getting ready. This is gonna be. We're gonna see. You're right. I think they come to
Yeah.
Lucas Oil Stadium like, and it's cold outside. They
Mhm.
probably running outside with no shirts on or something like that. They just
Oh yeah. Another thing I heard from the media week. I don't know if it's a media week, but one thing I heard though, they were talking about one thing they do at Georgia. They call Bloody Tuesday,
mm,
and on Bloody Tuesdays, you play for
mm,
Test, and then you remember Inside Run.
yep.
Georgia, they do Inside Run all day on Bloody Tuesday. I mean, those sessions must be legendary. You know what I'm saying? And they look you if you watch Georgia, they look like it. They look like they be doing Inside Run all day. I mean, the way just the yeah. I That'll be something just to be at practice, just to watch Jordan Davis and that Georgia off the not just Jordan Davis. You got Jordan Davis. You got guys like
Kobe
Trayvon
Dean.
Walker. Well, yeah, the Kobe Dean's a linebacker. Yeah, he'll be in there too. But yeah, just the whole D line versus the O line. You got the linebackers versus the running backs. Yeah, that'll be something to watch. Yeah, that's something right there.
Mm, 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 mm. All right, Hammer. What are your thoughts here?
We saw the SEC championship in the ATL, and it's no secret I was in ATL for a couple weeks. There's going to be two words why Bama's going to knock them out again like they did in Atlanta. Stetson Bennett. You ain't winning no chip with no Stetson Bennett at your QB. They
Any the fourth?
neutralized, destroyed the fourth. That Southern lineage. But the bottom line is that you ain't winning no chip. I mean, they shut Devin Ritter is rated by some people as a first round pick. They shut him out, bruh. They made him a non-factor. I mean, people don't talk about Bama's defense. Bama's defense is tight. And yeah, they got injuries with Job and stuff like that. But again, they personify the next man up. It's not a cliche like Darnell has talked about with some cats. You got some next man up. Well, yeah, he's the next man up because he's raggedy. But Bama, like I said before, what they did in Cincinnati, they humbled Cincinnati. And Cincinnati, again, they have an up and down offense, but you ain't winning no chip with Stetson Bennett, bro. I'm sorry, he ain't gonna be able to get the ball to Bowers. He ain't gonna be able to get I mean, it's a great story.
Wait. And I know I always do this, but you said Stetson Bennett's not going to be able to get the ball to Brock Bowers. But
They didn't stop him from getting it to him last time.
If we rewind to the SEC championship game, I have it pulled up right now. Brock Bowers had 10 catches for 139 yards.
Yeah, they ain't stopping him.
Hey, you don't think they're going to adjust? You don't think
They
they're going to adjust
will,
for that?
but they have more weapons. George Pickens is more
Bama
healthy
we
right
talking
now.
about.
They still got Darnell Washington. They still got Karis Jackson. They still got A.D. Mitchell. They still got guys you can throw the ball. And you got
Bowers going to have a decent game. He ain't going to go off like he did.
But I think a great tight end like that at a college level is one of the toughest things to stop. guys just make too many mistakes trying to. I mean, when you get a guy like that who can get you down the seam, he can go down. I mean, they throw screens to him. They do a lot. I mean, now getting the ball to him might not win you the game like it did in the SEC championship. They got to get it to more people. But I don't think you're gonna totally shut that young man down. He just, I'm convinced that he's possessed. This young man too young to be that good. You know, he done made a deal with somebody.
Man. I'm just saying that
I hope the Steelers get him.
They're gonna key on him. They're gonna key on him, and I trust Nick Saban. Nick Saban's a defensive genius. The DC is great. The OC, and the one thing that people are talking about is landing in this. I don't want my DC with his mind in Eugene. That's one thing I'm concerned about. Now it didn't hurt him. It didn't hurt him. It didn't hurt him against Michigan. We talking about Michigan. We ain't talking about Bama.
Dan Lanning.
You can't be half stepping. You can't be half stepping.
That's the best recruiting.
He was already signed to Oregon before that game.
It's a tremendous recruiting. But
it's a recruiting. Him winning. That's why he focused, because by doing that is going to help his recruiting.
No, he can't be all.
Yes,
in.
He is all in. He is all in.
So who's running the program? You told me he ain't running the program right now. Who's running
man, the way these kids are on Zoom and texting, he is staying on top of that. And because their coaches, their potential coach is very visible, all you got to say is, hey, sorry, I can't talk to you. I'm getting ready for the national championship game. Like, your voicemail might get you 3 recruits. I don't know about that. I think that's overrated.
I'm just saying that
you and I multitask all the time. We deal with so many things all the time. He can do that, especially with technology today.
People are all in. They know it. Like I said, we saw again a sample. We saw the SEC championship game. They got whooped. They got crushed. It wasn't even.
That's why I call this Creed too. Like Creed, Creed. They ended up in the hospital like Creed, but Rocky took them to the desert, man. That's what they did. That's why I call this the Creed 2 game.
It's gonna be Tyson Michael Spinks. This is gonna be.
If you start hearing when they get introduced, I will go to war. If you start hearing that, it's gonna be on when Georgia comes. It's gonna Creed. One of the greatest movies ever. You got to see Creed 2.
I was very impressed with the Cincinnati game. I watched both games, but the Cincinnati game stunned me. How they totally shut down Cincinnati. Just really impressive. They shut them down.
But Cincinnati's
has a better offense than Georgia?
No, what is it?
I said, do you think Cincinnati has a better offense than Georgia?
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying they shut them down. No.
Young has already convinced me. I had some issues with Georgia's offense. I'm off that now. I ain't saying nothing now.
I got issues.
I ain't saying nothing
else. You were saying the only player they got is Brock Bowers. I'm like, what?
No, I did not say that. I said
no. I'm not talking about you.
It's my time. He's the focal point of their offense, right? Can we?
I wasn't talking about you. He's a focal point of the
offense, right?
Yeah, he's on me about that. I said that.
Think again, he comes from the Belichick school.
Hammer's arguing about something that nobody else is arguing about.
He comes from the Belichick tree. Where's the
nobody arguing about any of that?
What's the number one defensive strategy of the Belichick team? You take away their best weapon. You make them.
That's Paul Test's strategy, as Youngin knows. We take away the top 3 things you do. You know what? Saban learned that when he was in Michigan, probably watching Paul Test's practices when he was coaching at Michigan State. That's probably how he learned all that stuff from everything else. Because we had some of the greatest defenses in the state of Michigan under him.
I don't trust Kirby Smart. I'm
with you on that one. I'm with you on that one.
Just like we've had so many opportunities, and then finally he's gonna break through. No. This is about world-class college football on the highest level, where we have cats like Jamison Williams.
Why can't Kirby Smart be Jay Wright though, man? Why can't he be Jay Wright? Why can't he break through? Jay Wright was on our all can't trust it list. Jay broke through with Villanova. Why can't Georgia beat Villanova, man?
Well, again, Jay Wright Georgia beat Villanova because you had to win 6 games. Jay Wright had to win 6 games instead of 1 game. But the bottom line is that he broke through, and so Boeheim broke through, and let's be real. Coach K was Mr. Can't Trust It.
Oh, he was for a while. People forget that.
Yeah. He almost got fired. But again, Kirby Smart, like I said, great recruiter. But he got to recruit a quarterback better.
What year is this for Kirby at Georgia?
It's like 5, right? It's
Yeah,
5, right?
so I
He
mean
ain't
he
5.
right on time. He got this is like his the end
You
of one
know,
of
it's
his first recruiting classes, right? Maturing.
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, like, we're not saying Georgia's a great team. I mean, they
Hmm.
look like the number one team in the country for most of the year. I was in ATO. I saw that Georgia Tech game. I felt bad. They should have waved the towel. They should have been like Rocky, like throw the towel, throw the towel, throw the towel. Because I'm telling you, I was in Buckhead and Castle with Georgia Tech fans. They took their hats off, man. They covered their merch. They covered their merch logos. They were so embarrassed, man. They didn't want to get clowned up in there. They wouldn't have been served, man. They might have served something bad up in there. If you were G Tech, a lot of G Tech alums, they stepped out, covered their merch, took off their hats, and they're like, man, let me go back to Marietta and go send me some lattes and eat me some country biscuits. But my team ain't there yet. Georgia Tech ain't there yet. So they embarrassed them. That game shouldn't even be played, man. That game was a debacle, as I like to say. A
All
debacle.
right.
I know Darnell I know he saw the game. I know he saw a game. He must have been laughing. I know Darnell too. Darnell, that was comedy for Darnell. That was like the comedy show, the midday comedy show from Atlanta.
I would say this. This is
He ain't
great. You
said
listen.
nothing. That brother was in stitches. I wish I had a camera when he was watching the game. That brother was in stitches, bro. In stitches. I know he can't even deny. He was in stitches, bro. And I know. I hope you didn't drink nothing when you were watching the game because you would spit it up. You would choke.
yeah, that game was something else.
All right, you listen to RSG1 Mike. You watching us? It's all good over here. We got things going on. We're on the rundown. We're the cipher. You know, life and times. You know, the more things change, the more they remain the same. And we talking about the national championship game. So we're getting excited about. There's a lot of stuff going to be happening on there. We got a lot of things on this list. But we're kind of going down the list of items that that are interesting as we do it. So we talked about Bama and Georgia. All right, we got a little teaser from Hammer over early on this next topic, and so we'll go to Youngin. You know, AB's meltdown, and for those who by now you probably seen it on your Good Morning America, everything else. Antonio Brown leaving with his shirt off, looking like he's doing jumping jacks. I thought it was like, I'm over here in Maui. I thought it was like 7 below over there, but I think it was like 50 degrees, 40 degrees. It was one of those, nice days out there in the New York, New Jersey area. Hey man, you saw AB, Central Michigan graduate over there doing his thing. Hammer kind of laid some things out for us early on, but what do you make of this, and where do you think it goes?
Well, this is a weird situation, but just like anything else, there is three sides to the story.
Mm,
There's my side, there's your side, and then there's the truth.
mm,
The truth is somewhere in the middle here. I think Antonio Brown, his credibility is beyond shot. I mean,
mm,
this guy is a guy he's acted up pretty much everywhere he's went, and Bruce Arians on their side, I think that there's some truth there, but I think they're definitely not. They're probably not telling the whole truth either. I think there's some truth in what Antonio Brown is saying. I mean, as far as what Bruce Arians said, I think there's no way in the world that he didn't know that Antonio Brown was hurt because, first of all, that's abjectly false because um, Antonio Brown, he was in the injury report. He was in the injury report. He didn't practice on Wednesday or Thursday. I mean, so obviously he was hurt. I mean, and then he pulled.
He didn't
And
play
he
the
didn't
game
play the game
before.
before. Like, yeah. So yeah, that was just ridiculous. But I think Antonio Brown, the way he acted on the side, like you saw Michael Evans, you saw Mike Evans try to calm him down a little bit, but yeah, it was just a sad scene to see because Antonio Brown, he's a guy. Personally, I coached a couple of guys. I coached a couple of kids that are kind of like Antonio Brown. Well, obviously they didn't. They can't play like Antonio Brown, but as far as on the behavioral side, I've seen this a couple of times before, and it's sad to see it play out. On the bigger stage, when a guy like Hammer said in the back page, this guy is tarnishing his legacy. Like this is a guy. I was watching the Rose Bowl, right? We all saw what Jackson Smith and Jigba did, and I was gonna call. I was just gonna call Devon after the game, and I was gonna say, I was like, bro, this dude is the light skinned Antonio Brown. Like I'm talking about the actual football side of things. I was like, he really reminded me of Antonio Brown. And then I thought to myself, I was like, they're gonna take this the wrong way because Antonio Brown, Antonio Brown be acting. But then let it be known the very next day, this happens. The very next day, Antonio Brown acts up. So yeah, like just like the title of this, as the world turns. But yeah, I can't. I'll never know the whole truth of exactly what happened. But yeah, I don't think I can condone Antonio Brown's actions. I won't. But like I said earlier, the truth is somewhere in the middle, and I don't think any side looks good in this whole ordeal.
Yeah, I would say that you're right. The truth is somewhere in the middle, and I think what happens is because of the number of things Antonio Brown has done, he's taken away from that. Right there, you had so many other avenues because there's probably some truth around how they've handled injuries. Tampa Bay's had some issues around how they've handled injuries. NFL, number of players will come out and say, "Hey, these type of things." But when you lose credibility, like when you sit up on a podcast and say, Tom Brady wasn't loyal when he let you stay at your house, and you saying it's strictly about football, and why didn't you get the Gronk contract? You didn't get the Gronk contract because Gronk is doing his little stuff, but he ain't doing what you doing. He ain't like y'all aren't even the same case. Like he didn't come back here with a false vaccination card. Like your record is so long. Who gonna give you any kind of real like your perception of? We're not talking about your ability, but your other actions and its impact on it is crazy. And all the other stories that are coming out that happen with players sneaking folks into their room and stuff like that. That's part of their life, but you have so many public things that's taken away from all the good things you could have done. Now we all know if you can't hurt, you go. If you hurt, you go to the medical staff. The trainers confirm it. They tell the coach it's over. It's over in a lot of those situations. But when you go going running off the field and you doing jumping jacks and you high like you high stepping better than I could ever high step all the way out there. But then you say you can't play. But you doing about 9 different cuts on your way out the stadium. It's like and it could be you got shot up and all these things could be right, but everything you doing is not helping your case. And it's like, and then you show up on the sidelines of the Brooklyn game. Like there's so many other things that you do. It's like I always tell people, time and place is like the most fundamental thing. A lot of you are working with cats, sometimes are working with a cousin or working with a family member. Sometimes your natural response to them is time and place. And they say, what do you mean? Sometimes it ain't the time and sometimes it ain't the place. Your ability to understand time and place is going to be a key strategy. Antonio, you could have been more effective if you understood time and place. If you understood when it needed to happen, you would be more effective. And he just can never get down time and place. And so it's like no matter what, you got evidence with tweets and everything else. Only image people gonna have in their mind is this brother with no shirt on, doing jumping jacks across the end zone, and dapping the attendant on the way out the door. I mean, the irony of this is the Jets, and he was like Joe Namath. I thought he was gonna go out doing this. I thought he was gonna run out of the stadium like Namath's family did after the Super Bowl. It was just he did do the number one, and I said, boy, it is crazy. So yeah, it's a meltdown, but at a certain point, we can't give you any credit we can't support you when there's certain things you just got to control. And everything's going to be about football because y'all playing football. Yeah, Tom want to win and you want to win. But when a man lets you in his house, lets you stay in his house on one team, and then get you checks when nobody else getting you checks on another team, man, loyalty something else. Loyalty something else. And that's the other thing that's going to hurt you is that you're not loyal, man. You're not loyal to the cats who really trying to vouch for you. So it's such a mess. And I'm not going to get into the mental health stuff anymore. I was going to try to do that. That's something for him to be able to determine. Whatever it is, it's wrong. So whatever you got to do, you just got to fix in your life. I don't know what it is, but he going to have to fix something because he does not have a good, clear understanding of time and place. He's always at the wrong time, always at the wrong place.
He was with Pittsburgh. That's not true. He did was with Pittsburgh. I mean, he was putting up. Look at the numbers he put up.
Yeah, but that tells you how great Tomlin was.
Now,
if you listen to Ryan Clark and them early on, Ryan Clark is telling you there was behaviors that were under. But Ryan Clark was telling you there were behaviors that were under that they didn't think would show up in the football space. So Ryan already telling you this stuff that they had to manage back then, and so it wasn't like all it tells you how great Tomlin was to keep him focused. Put it where it's supposed to be. Sometimes, and if you notice, it's crazy. And Le'Veon Bell sounds like the same person, right? But if you think about both those guys, when they left, everybody was like, wow, y'all going to be able. And both of their careers have struggled. I think, 10 years down the line, they need to go back and show up on Tomlin's porch and thank that brother. And at some point, they need to go ahead and thank that brother. 10 years down the line where it's quiet, no media, they need to go back and thank that brother. Because neither one of their careers have been the same since they left Tomlin. And not because they're not great players, but everybody talks about control the locker room. To control those two right now, and I would put Le'Veon in the same situation. Le'Veon's had his own situations, but I would put him with AB. But man, and so we all know you got to deal with great talent. Hell, we're about to talk about one of them in a little bit. I don't even think we had him on here, but we got to throw him in. I'm gonna throw him in next anyway. While we hot, it's Kyrie. The more things change, I didn't put him in the list, but he should have been in the list. The more he stayed to say, I'm gonna say this too, Kyrie. I apologize, man. I'm apologizing to you, brother. I know you got to play more than just road games, but man, I just might just have to start playing some Anita Baker every time I talk, because that brother, it was like he went to work. And if I was KD too, I would be hugging him too and smiling, because that brother, when he is right, he is right. I ain't gonna put him in the AB category, but he is right. He is right. That boy Kyrie, that young man, that I just say it like that because of the hip hop framework. That I ain't got no more words for him, but to say, man, I apologize, brother. I apologize. I know you still need to get vaccinated. I'm gonna talk to you about that. But when you on the court, man, he is something. You forget how good he is until you see him. But he was putting in work on there. So I know I didn't have this on there because Go ahead. What'd you say?
I said I didn't forget.
I didn't forget that part. I mean, it's decision making. Young people. I don't know, man. I got mixed up in a whole bunch of stuff. Go ahead, youngin.
Man, Kyrie is one of the most skilled players to ever touch a basketball. I mean,
I told you he's a head case.
We talked about this earlier in the year. You were saying that when Kyrie comes back, he's gonna be rusty. I was telling you, it's like Kyrie's one of those dudes. He's not gonna forget how to play basketball. This dude is on such a high skill level.
But you only give him half the time, man. You only give him half the time.
But did you watch the game?
Rhythm?
Did you watch the game?
Yeah, I know. I saw the game. Yeah, and I saw what he did. But I'm just saying, you get him half the time, and you got KD.
They took the L. They took the L to Milwaukee last night.
I ain't gonna force against that. Yeah, they got crushed in Milwaukee last night.
But he got mauled.
They got mauled in Milwaukee last night. Milwaukee went into Brooklyn and ate their food and whooped them. That's what like we used to say. Took over their house, basically. So I mean,
Hey,
you know, and when you got headlines talking about Katie talking about I ain't gonna force Kyrie to get vaxxed, we got problems, man. We
it
got
probably because he
problems.
can't do nothing. He can't do nothing with him. Like, I agree with you. I mean, at some point, the one thing I said is, "Say, look, man, you asked all these brothers to come here, and then you the one that ain't showing up at the table." Which I understand that. You know, you ain't the one showing at the table. But I'm at the point where if they all right with it, then I'm just going to be accepted with it. Now, if y'all lose, y'all can't use that as an excuse. That's my question. Because y'all all agreed to the formula.
They're gonna lose.
If y'all lose, don't blame that
Milwaukee or Chicago could beat them right now.
because because KD, you had a chance to assert yourself and get it the way you needed to get it. It's definitely not something that Kobe would have put up with. It's definitely not something that a number of other great players would have put up with. But you put up with it, so then that you don't have a built-in excuse. This is what y'all accepted. Kyrie, you accepted it, but when he on the court, and you saw the difference, right? You saw them get smacked down against the Bucks, and you saw what he can do.
The difference,
When
yeah.
he on the court. So,
That's why it's a
but
shame you won't
but
get vaccinated. So.
they've accepted. My theory is, Young, and you talked about, you've worked with players similar to AB and stuff like that. I've worked with a lot of young people in a similar way like this. My sense is with a person like Kyrie is you give him, and I think some of the management probably realize this. You give him 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks doing it his way, and give him an onboarding off. You can already hear it sometimes even in his comments. I'm just grateful to be here. I'm just, I didn't realize it was going to be this tough, but I'm accepting it in the moment. Like he's already putting breadcrumbs down. That it would be a surprise to me in 3 weeks where you said, well, he got vaccinated. That he came to understand, like getting in the. I'm telling you, he laid breadcrumbs. But with a person like this, sometimes you got to let him have a couple of weeks his way, and then you get a message back. Yeah, he got his first shot. He gonna get his second shot. He riding on a plane with his boys. Like sometimes giving him 1 or 2 weeks his way, so he has not a way to save face, but a way for him to work to his own truth is how you do it. I wouldn't be surprised in 2 or 3 weeks that he's vaccinated, but he's able to walk into it the way he wants to. We've all had young folks like that, where you give them a way to get they out, and when you as good as he is, you gonna get a way to get you out. If you weren't as good as he is, you'd have been out playing for the G League. But that's just kind of how it's gonna work. And I think they finally realized, like, okay, let's give him a run, because I think he'll come to his own decision. He's not gonna be face down in the public media, but we get him here doing this, and he's here. He sees he sees this loss in Milwaukee, that starts to chip away at it. They get on the road with him. They got a couple road trips they're win at Chicago. Boom, they get a loss at home. Boom, boom, and then next, there's a weekend where they're somewhere. He's getting his shots. That's what I think is going to happen with him. And you have a lot of folks that they just got to find their way to it. And so, but they weren't going to find a way to it on this public standoff when he kind of tried to make this big, kind of, I'm looking out for the person who ain't got no voice. Okay, I made my point. Now I'm going to pivot. That's what I'm thinking. But we'll see that. All right, let's jump to the portal life. Man, this portal been off the hook. I mean, we already talk about it, but man, I mean, Caleb Williams, like, I should talk to my brother about every once in a while you watch a game. We see this a lot today. I call it no purpose shots. Like there's no purpose to that shot. Like that shot is not getting you anywhere. My brother Steve used to just roll when I said that. No purpose shots. We got some purpose portal moves. I'm just like, folks are just in the portal because they can go to the club sometimes, I feel like. Like I'm even trying to figure out the strategic move. But the one for Caleb Williams, I can understand. When you get recruited by a coach, you're a top kid like that, your money's on the line. You're not quite sure what the new coach is coming in. But man, that portal is popping in crazy ways. I'll start with you, Young, because you're a college football aficionado and everything else. You've been watching the game. What are some of the highlights for people who haven't been able to track the portal? What are some of the things you've seen in the portal? What do you see as potential game changers in the portal right now?
Well, the number one I know it's not a game change. It's not gonna happen. But the number one thing that I saw was like you said, Caleb Williams. He was offered $1 million to come to Ypsilanti to play for
Eastern
Eastern
Michigan.
Michigan.
I'm like, I'm gonna show up like the game done
Oh,
changed.
yeah. If he come to Ipsy, I know something. No, I was kidding. But
He be right in your own backyard, baby. We have to
yeah,
make sure you get set up over there so you can cover for RSG.
yeah. But I understand Caleb Williams is going into the transfer portal because like he said, his plan, him and his dad's plan was for him to go to college, play for Lincoln Riley because Lincoln Riley has a track record of getting guys to the NFL, and he was the number one. He was the number one player, number one quarterback coming out of high school. And one thing they say is he wanted to repeat that. He wants they call it one to one. He wants to be the number one player in high school, and then be the number one player in college, win the Heisman, then be the number one player in the NFL draft. That's the plan he wants to be on. And with Lincoln Riley gone, there's uncertainty there. And well, a move that I would like to see for him is, could you imagine Caleb Williams at Georgia throwing the Brock Bowers in it, man?
They're talking
That
about
would
that.
be
That's
that would
out
be
there. That's out there.
ridiculous. And if he doesn't do that, you still got
And there'd be no excuse then for Kirby Smart. If he don't win with Caleb Williams, then
if he still, but then if he doesn't go there, you still got options like Ole Miss would be an interesting option under Lane Kiffin. You still got Pitt. Well, not
he'll go to
Pitt,
Georgia for Ole Miss. So.
yeah, of course he'll go, but I'm saying options. I'm saying options. But
Yeah, there's options. I mean, people
yeah,
make choices. Yeah.
yeah,
Matt
there's a
Corral,
lot of
Matt
guys.
Corral had a choice between Ole Miss and Florida and chose Ole Miss. So yeah, it can happen.
But yeah, there's a lot of guys in the transfer. Like I said, there was over 1,000. But last time we checked, there's over 1,000 players in the transfer portal. And one interesting thing I heard from somebody was saying that I know this, yeah, it was Tubby Smith actually, but I don't want to sound
Lovely
like the
Smith.
old guy. Yeah, Tubby Smith. The transfer portal isn't only affecting college football, but college basketball as well. But yeah, but
He's a
Tubby
high
Smith was
point. So what are you
struggling.
talking about?
Wait, was that
He's a high point. So what are you talking
Yeah,
about?
but he's a national
the
voice. I mean,
transfer
Trying to
he's
get
a
portal?
some. You
legend.
trying to get
He's a
some
legend in
cats that
sports.
flamed out.
No,
What? Tubby's
He's a
one.
legend. Yeah, he's a legend.
Tubby
Yeah, he's a
one. Like,
national
go make
champion.
your
I can't
point.
take away from him.
Let's make the point first, and then we'll
Well, you
get back
trying to
to
get
the.
cats to go a high point, or he just
Let's,
talking?
yeah, but I mean, a
Oh,
lot of,
go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
mean,
Go ahead.
yeah, I mean, you got
I
you
am.
got a
I've
lot
been
of
quiet.
coaches
I've been quiet.
where
Go ahead. Go ahead.
where it seems to be a former Kentucky thing to end up at mid
okay,
major.
so
Okay,
basically
go
what
ahead.
Tubby, yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. So he said, so what he was pretty much saying that what the transfer portal is doing right now. This is kind of the older perspective, but what the transfer portal is doing right now is teaching players how to quit. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, there are situations that you need to transfer because the coach is gone. The coach that recruited you is gone. You know what I'm saying? The situation has changed, stuff like that. Obviously, yeah. But a lot in some of these cases, there are guys that things really aren't going their way, and they're leaving too soon, and I don't know. But I just wanted to get you guys' opinion on that. What do you think? What do you think about um
I think he's dead wrong. I mean, look at the top picks in the NFL: Baker Mayfield transfer, Kyler Murray transfer, Joe Burrow transfer. This pandemic this pandemic has taught us that you got to get yours because it might not be here tomorrow. And the bottom line is these young men and women who are in the poor realize that you can't stay in a situation where, again, it's not working because you don't have opportunity to mess up. You need to frame and put yourself in the best situation to thrive. And so if that means transferring, that means transfer.
But
And they ain't got no loyalty to you.
but I do think there's an element about are you competitive, and I do think you should have the option to move if you need to move, but I do think there's an element of competitiveness, meaning that there's also as many or more people who are like, okay, we're gonna line up. All right, I'm lining up with you. I'm beating you. I'm beating you. Okay, you can put whoever you want to put on this depth chart. you can have whoever you want to have transfer in here. They gonna be
Right,
down on this.
Brian Robinson, Najee Harris, but Jerome Ford
there
is
is an
signed to
element of
the league.
competitiveness that is being lost. It is feeling very AAU. And anybody's ever coached AAU, anybody's ever
Exactly.
coached young people, there is a competitive piece that is lost in some way. So I think Hammer, I think there are some things where I think where you're making a really good case where people have to strategically make some strategic decisions. But I think I think I think that's 3 out of 10 versus I think there's 7 folks who are not
Right.
competing, and that to me is an element. Even
But
and,
let's
and
be
I'm
real.
and
Let's
I'm
be
all
real
for. I
talk
mean,
though. A
I
lot
know
of
you got to
people in
think
the
about your
portal ain't
And
financial
that's a key
future,
part
and
of the development process as well.
yeah,
no,
The-
but let's have real
And that's
talk
a key
though.
part.
A lot of people in the portal ain't gonna even be picked up, right? Have real talk. A lot of people in that portal, just in that
Yeah.
portal, and they're gonna be in that portal in limbo, right? We ain't
yeah.
talking about the Caleb Williams, but I'm talking about the average Joe in that portal ain't gonna get run. They left the situation because they raggedy, and they'll go in the portal and they'll be like, and
But
so
in some of
I
those
mean
cases, if
that's
you
just
talk
how it
about
is.
like even like Baker, or you talk about Georgia's quarterback, some of these cats started as
Kyler,
walk-ons, so they've already demonstrated a level of
true.
competitiveness that started with no scholarships.
Mm-hmm.
You got some cats who are starting, like even on the basketball side, you got people who are starting, and will be starting the next year going in the portal. It's like what you doing? Like and that's what's muddying up the portal. And the other part about this is
They're
it's not the
transferring to a
student's
better
decision.
situation.
No, this is the game that I'm finding. It's some of this stuff is predetermined. And this is where the problem happening, where it's like, okay, go to Eastern Michigan or go to Western Michigan because we ain't got a spot for you right now. We'll pick you up in a year.
Mm-hmm.
So all of this is a part of the game, and so we all about student athlete freedom, rights, right? We've been preaching this on here from day one, so we all about it. But we can't discount that this is eroding competitiveness, right? Like people, I got a barrier, and I ain't fighting through that barrier because I don't have to. And there's we got to admit there's something about that I do think Tubby Smith is hitting into that you can see with a lot of young folks. You can see that in non-athletes, if you're
Right.
in some of these
But
college situations.
yeah, that's just a whole thing a generational issue as
Yeah,
well. But then like Carl talked about the Alabama situation.
yeah,
That competition, like you
Jerome
said,
Ford.
that's a key part of the development of these young players. Because when you come to college, these kids are talented, but they're not finished products yet.
yeah.
Part of what makes
Mm-hmm.
Alabama is because when you at practice, Devontae Smith is going against Patrick Surtain. Jalen Waddle, he's going against a guy like Trayvon Diggs. You know what I'm saying? These guys, the iron is sharpening iron.
And if you're on a scout team, you going against Patrick Surtain
You on a
every day,
field.
right? You're running plays
Yeah,
against him
yeah,
every
yeah.
day, giving him a look. You're getting better, right? Like even if you're not with the first team, you're getting better because you're giving Patrick Surtain a good look, and your job is to make him look bad in practice. And by doing that, you are competing and getting ready, right? That's a piece that's missing, right? I'm not saying that's across the board, but there's an
But you
element
gotta
of it
show
missing.
tape as well, though, D. Wells. You gotta show tape as well. I mean, there are very few. Remember Matt Castle?
Yeah, but
That's
you
a real
got 4 years to show
aberration.
tape.
Why I'm bringing
One
Matt
thing I
Castle.
learned about NFL scouts, they'll find you. They'll find
That's
you.
true. They will find you
Today they
in
will
those
find
stints.
you.
But if you have tape, though, that helps your case more. And
Yeah,
you
but
talking
that
about
but
a league where let me
but this
finish.
is instant
You talking
thing.
about a league where you got
If
3 years,
you're
bro.
saying
3 years.
what I'm saying is you're saying I'm saying you still can get 2 years of tape. Most of these players can still get 2 years of tape. Hell, people made the league on 1 year of tape, right? These cats they ain't patient for that. Like they need tape on you, but they don't need 4 years of tape on you. They need 2, maybe 1 year of good tape on you. They can tell that you can
Yeah,
play. So
Derek Stingley's about to go top 5, and he only has like 1 year of real tape on him.
yes,
Who we talking
like
about? Who you saying?
Derek Stingley.
Yeah, that's true. His because you looked at his PF. I was looking at PFF last night to prepare for this, and you're right. His freshman year was the zenith of his career. and he hasn't played well so far, but he's still gonna go top 5 because it's just he's so talented. They gonna look at that first real tape and be like, "That's the real Dale Stingley."
Yeah.
Now
And that's what
they might be
we're
wrong.
talking about. You don't need 4 years of tape. Well, really, as long
In
as
certain
the worst,
situations,
worst is the last.
we ain't telling everybody ain't Derek Stingley Jr., bro.
Yeah, but everybody don't,
Derek
but you
Burrow.
don't need to go to three different schools to figure out your way in either. Like there's a
There's one
like
brother I saw. This one
you
brother
telling
today, but
you tell me this so you telling me this many athletes need to transfer.
I think they should have the choice.
No, we're not. That's not the issue. The
Yes,
gate
I
is
think they
open.
should. You
Right,
wouldn't
right, right.
maximize your career.
One,
Yes,
one of the things I used
they
to tell
do.
my staff all the time, you know me, Hammer, you work with me a long time. I said,
Yeah,
yeah, and I used to,
talent.
working in public universities can sometimes be hard to get things done because you got people who tell you rules that aren't really rules. I call them preferences versus policies. But what I always used to do when I explain this to folks is, even though it gives you an allowable cost, doesn't mean you do it. Right? I just need to know you can do it or not do it. But once I know I can do it, there's a whole nother level of decision making I have to have around this on whether or not it's the right thing to do. Right? So we're not arguing the allowability of it. We're saying you can do it, but doesn't mean you should do it. Meaning you got to think much more strategically. And you cannot tell me that as many kids we got in the portal, if you did a true analysis, that 70% of them should be in the portal. In fact, if you're smart, you should probably sit where you at because there's going to be so much volatility. The kids who create stability might be the ones who are smart to stay where they're at. Like you might want to just like pause and see, okay, what happens and stick and stay
You
with
might
the
lose your
run.
scholarship. You might
Huh?
lose your scholarship.
You
You might
might or
lose
you
your
might
scholarship.
not. You,
I
and
mean,
that's not
that's the
happening. That's
example
not
we talked
this.
about.
There's
With
these
that example we
play.
talked about with the soon-to-be former Michigan football coach. How he did somebody wrong. That happened. You don't think that happens all the time?
That happens all the time, but
It does
that's
happen
That's what
all
I'm
the time.
saying. So you gotta go get
but
to it.
I'm saying you got a lot more options here at the beginning of your career. Once you in, I'm saying you playing with scared money. Like you anticipating things are going bad is already eroding your competitiveness.
No, I'm not. I don't think it's just. I think when you see a year
Either you're a
where
dog or
you
you're
got
not.
no, like
Are
Jerome
you a
Ford, for
dog?
example,
Are
like
you a
Jerome
dog?
Ford.
When I show up in the room,
But at
am
the
I a
same time,
dog?
those situations happen even more
You
now
feel me?
with the
Jerome
transfer
Ford's not a
portal
dog.
because
Jerome Ford
there's less scholarships to go
transferred and he
around.
made it a nice career. Now he's going pro. So I mean,
Yeah, but he
you get
transferred. Like how many times he transferred? He transferred once and he put his
one
head
time,
down.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
You got
These
people
cats.
jumping. You
I
got
saw some
people
story
jumping.
today where
You got people
dude
jumping in and out
transferred
of the
4
portal
or
like it's
5
the
times. That's
club.
ridiculous.
You got people
Yeah,
jumping in
I'm
and out
talking
of the
about
portal like it's the club.
the 4 or 5 times. That's ridiculous.
That's,
I
you know what I'm
agree.
saying?
The guy
So
with
I'm
the last,
telling
you know what I'm talking
you,
about? This is brother with the last chance you. He went to, you know what I'm talking about? As a
yeah,
quarterback, a brother. You know what I'm talking about, Darnell, don't you? He went to last chance you. He's in the portal again, like it's his 6th year. He been in the
Dude,
portal. He been in like 5 schools,
yeah. I
something
mean,
like
come
that.
on. And so
That's
I would
ridiculous.
say that we're gonna hit the portal light, but there's a lot of movement happening. It's interesting. It's a new day. I think it's affecting the front part of recruiting with the high school students, high school athletes coming in because I think it's throwing the timeline off a little bit because people are hesitating even on commitments with folks because they're trying to see who's in the portal. I mean, I think what I will say it's creating an opportunity for certain programs to raise their value and to if they can really work that to get talent, another level of talent. I mean, it's great for the Alabamas and the Clemsons and some of the top teams, but I think it's also if you use things right, you can really create some value. If you're Boise State or if you're some of the places, you can really make some things happen. So I think from that standpoint, it's created some. But
Look at
Young,
Jameson
I think
Williams, a good
Tubby is
example.
onto something.
Jameson
The
Williams.
competitive piece, we've seen this with the AU
Jameson
erosion for a
Williams,
long time.
he was
Kids not
Yeah,
staying
but
on teams because they're not
let's
getting
talk
what
about
they
that
want.
situation though. I mean, that situation blew me away because I'm like, this guy was in Ohio State, and you talk about Jackson. I'm gonna mispronounce the brother's name, but
Jackson Smith and Jigba.
yeah, you got Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, they were playing with backup wide receivers, balling
Yeah.
in the Rose Bowl. So yeah, something like Jameson Williams, I was stunned. I'm like, this dude. I'm looking at this dude, but this dude's bad. This dude couldn't play with Olave, and I'm like, I would have made a 4,
Yeah, but that's an
5,
example
6
of.
receiver set for that brother.
But that's an example of somebody that. That's an example of somebody that he should transfer. Like he was there. He developed the skills.
Yeah.
He competed But at the end of the day, he was the fourth receiver on the depth chart,
But why?
and
I
he
mean,
showed that he could play. He showed he could play in the Clemson game last year.
oh yeah, he
Like,
did show that. We talked about that. But the main thing about I was listening to Feinbaum, and the thing that scares me about these transfer situations, why I think, again, I agree with you. I'm not double. I believe there should be the right to transfer, and I know there are a lot of people in the portal who are transferring because they BSing. But the James Williams situation really intrigues me about having that option to transfer because this is a guy. When I was in the Feinbaum show and I was in Atlanta, this is a guy when he got in Tuscaloosa in the first practice, they're like, he's gonna start for us. And I'm like, really? Like, what happened in Columbus? Was it just too cold?
Well, I
Your
think by
brother,
watching the Rose
your
Bowl, we
brother
found out what happened in
brother had
Columbus.
twitch issues,
we
but
saw what happened.
I mean, Young had
Marvin,
been telling me
let me talk
we
to you
saw the
about. Let me
display.
talk a little bit about
I
Marvin
saw the Rose
Harrison.
Bowl.
I mean,
About
That
Marvin
was a
Harrison.
no
show.
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Oh,
Yeah.
Marvin
I
Harrison.
know. I saw the Rose Bowl. That's
No,
a
I'm saying
show.
Marvin Harrison Jr.
It's bad.
Somebody said it on the someone said it on the broadcast. I think it was Kirk Herbstreit. He said, "Oh, somebody I asked the coach to describe Marvin Harrison. They said, oh yeah, he's a great route runner. I was like, his name is Marvin Harrison. Like, you know who Marvin Harrison
Yeah,
is?
I know.
Like Marvin
And
Harrison
he's
was a great
6'3". That's the thing about
route
he's
runner of all
6'3". Here's his
time.
father.
And he's taller
He's
than Marvin
6'3".
Harrison.
Yep.
He's taller than Marvin
6'3".
Harrison. Like Marvin Harrison Jr. would start on 99% of college football programs in the country.
Yeah.
Like
As the number one receiver, add that.
That's the number one
that's the
receiver.
number one receiver as that. And he's wide receiver 4 right now at Ohio State. And next year, like I
He'll
don't
be
know,
two. He'll
like,
be
man,
two.
yeah.
He'll be two. But
He's a
Wow.
problem. He's a problem. Him and Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yeah.
And
And
the
they
Mecca
got
and
eligibility
Buka.
left.
He's the kick returner, but he was the number one wide receiver in the whole country last year coming out of high school.
Yeah,
Like,
Jackson,
all
right?
he's doing is returning kicks
Marvin.
right now.
Double Marvin or Jackson?
No, I'm talking about Emeka and Buka.
Oh yeah, Mega Boo. Yeah, what happened to
Number
that brother?
12.
Yeah, what happened to him? Is he transferring?
No,
I didn't see that brother. He didn't get no run at the Rose Bowl, did he? I didn't see his
yeah, he did. I told you he's the kick returner.
Oh, he did the kick return. That's right. But he didn't catch no balls, right? I remember him catching no
I
balls.
think he did catch.
Jackson was catching everything.
But
So,
once
that
you build it like that, he knows all he got to do is be patient, right?
Yeah,
See, he sees the writing on the wall.
You know that.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm just gonna wait my turn, right? And there is a wait my turn kind of thing that I think folks. There's another brand you could put on this competitiveness. I'm gonna wait my turn kind of piece that's there, especially when you're a place like Ohio State where you're gonna get eyeballs on you. And so, I mean, some of those cats making money on that Rose Bowl performance alone.
He had 3 catches for okay. Yeah,
You don't need no more tape than that. They're gonna make money on that Rose Bowl performance alone. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, we got a number of things here on this rundown for this one. We might jump a couple items. One thing I want to get to is that he's back. Clay, is he set to start this Sunday or is he?
Yeah, Sunday.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Ooh,
Right?
man,
Tomorrow's
I saw him warming up. I'm thinking, oh man, he about to do
It don't
work.
take him long to heat up.
Man, you know what I'm saying? He don't need just put him in the way his game goes. Well, I'm interested to see how effective he is on defense, where it's going to push him and working through things. But offensively, and I feel the great thing about it, they built a culture. These young guys are probably happy he's coming back, but man, they got so much depth over there. And this is what I wanted to kind of jump in on. And I'll hit you, Hammer, and then come back to you, Young, because I know you can kind of pull this back together for us at the end. I had an argument with Game Changer probably about 4 or 5 years ago on the air before kind of this real, San Antonio was doing the player development piece. And we were having this argument about being ready made. I said development is still the thing to do, and San Antonio's kind of really laying it out. And then you saw Golden State. And when I saw what they've done with these young players, it's almost like they took the hit. They didn't resist it. They just took the hit and they really invested in these young players. And now you got Clay coming back. Where do you see this going, Hammer? I mean, I think, when you think about a bridge from, having, KD going through what they went to do, going through the injuries, right, of it, and the way they've kind of held this thing together. You almost thought it was the end of a dynasty in some sense. And now they seem like they're on another surge with some young talent. what are you anticipating as Clay comes back and where these young guys going to fit in with this run?
Yeah, I think that you break it down to quote you, it's about talent development,
Yeah.
man. And the bottom line is that Steve Kerr has shown you that there were slim, there were rough times when Clay was out, but he's shown you how well he coaches. And the GM Bob Meyer is also showing you how well he brings in talent like Jordan Poole. And I saw Jordan Poole play. Y'all thought he was a first rounder. I was when I saw first round, I was like, really? But the main thing about it, they understand talent and they understand how. And so I trust Steve Kerr to be able to get people like Iguodala and the other people together, the old cats or actually the seasoned cats, be more respectful of the veteran cats and the young people, learn from each other and be synergistic and win that chip. Without KD, with Wiseman, I don't know about is when's Wiseman coming back? He's coming back soon or not? What's his timetable?
It's like he's like
know.
yeah. It's almost like he's a luxury.
Talent development. They've created some great talent development, and Steve Kerr has shown you that through the bad times, he has stuck to developing talent and then doing it for the long run and set up GSW for this Klay Thompson return. And I think he'll do it right. He'll be able to get Klay in there, 20, 25 minutes, get his legs. You talk about the defense. I think that's what you need to really shut him down to about 20, 25 minutes to make sure you're equitably on the defensive side of the ball. But that's why Steve Kerr is the best coach in the business right now, because he's showing, again, how he's able to develop talent in the good times and the bad times for the ultimate goal, which is the chip, which he's doing right now. And so it's amazing. And honestly, I'm biased. I'm a Steve Kerr fanatic because he won my last dance Bulls. Why lie? And also another thing too, where I think Mark Jackson should get a job because Mark Jackson showed talent development.
Yeah.
They just fired him before he could take it to the next level. So that's what I see, bro.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on. I mean, this is why when they went to Popovich initially for the national coach ship, I was like, "Nah, Steve Kerr is the right person for that job." And I'm glad they came to their senses. I love Pop, but Pop stuff wasn't gonna work. Steve Kerr brings something different to that role, so I'm glad. Young and you watching this, we all gonna watch it. What are your thoughts in terms of how this is going and just how they put all this together, man?
But yeah, like I said in the off season, the Warriors thing is about strength in numbers, and I know the Roosters in the back.
My Roosters back here saying you right, man. They tell that truth.
You talked earlier about Clay coming back, and and you're not really sure how he's going to come back on the defensive end. Well, they have insurance for that, and his name is Gary Payton Jr.
That's right.
Gary Payton II. If he doesn't start the game, he should be finishing games for them. See, even when Clay is back, they should push Clay to the three, and he's going to guard.
Hey, Hammer, put your mic on. Put your mic on mute. It's like you jumped in your dresser drawer.
Gary Payton's going to be guarding the number one player, the number one option on the opposing teams come playoff time. And that really frees up Klay Thompson. It takes the pressure off him because he used to do that stuff back when he was really at his peak. But now that Gary Payton can take that load off of him, now Klay can do what he does best on the offensive end. He can save his energy for that, spotting up, coming off screens, hitting threes. He's going to take a lot of pressure off Stephen Curry. And this is a team that I know me and Marcus had an argument about this in the offseason about whether or not they should trade Wiseman and some pieces to get Ben Simmons. I said no. The Warriors, their strength is in their numbers. And I think James Wiseman is a guy he can along with Moses Moody and Kuminga, they can really extend the prime of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Like once they start hitting stride and you bring them along for their development, the Warriors are gonna be great for a long time, I believe. And the crazy thing is, I know I keep sounding like the old head. lot of my players call me an old head. I'm 25, man. Why you calling me old? But I heard some media personality saying that it's unfair to ask a guy as talented as James Wiseman just to be a guy that dives to the rim, be a roll man, and just be a run and jump big. And what I was saying is, and my whole perspective on that is, what kind of soft stuff is this, man? Like we saw this last decade with Kawhi Leonard when Kawhi Leonard was able to ease into the game. You know what I'm saying? He was a young player, but he was allowed to come in as a role player and just develop and work on his game until he could blossom into a superstar. And I think that's something that James Wiseman can do. James Wiseman can come immediately. He's a guy. He's a big with mobility. He can run the floor like a gazelle. He's a fluid mover. He's not just a guy that's a stiff robot that can run fast, but he can move. He can switch on screens, so he can block shots. I think he's a guy that um, he can be useful to them now in that role. But then from the years to come, 2 or 3 years down the road, you can start dumping you can start dumping the ball down to him, let him work in the high post while Steph and Claire run around him, and get more open shots for them as well, even as they age. So I think they have a great situation that they can grow with and for the next 5 years, 5, 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit it right on the head. I think he could be a much more fluid, if you can say this, Embiid. Sometimes Embiid has this crazy
Ooh.
gait with some of the stuff he does, but I think Wiseman has this kind of natural, fluid, less herky jerky kind of, if he can start to pattern his game and kind of come on. If you think about Embiid had some hiccups early in his career with the injuries, like we already forgotten about that, right? In a sense,
I
in
haven't.
it. And so, now he's just killing folks. And to be able to mature, this is the
Yeah,
thing about, I
60
think you
games
hit
a year. Yeah,
this
60
is,
games a year. He's killing
yeah,
folks.
but he's doing what he needs to do. But I think with a guy like Wiseman, to be able to ease in your career, learn how to win championships, be able to get the baton passed to you, is a smart move for him. And I think if he can develop along, I think you're right. It's a way for him to get to that point. So I think you have to have willing players. You got to have the player can see it, right? This player's got to be able to see it, and then the management and everybody working. There's got to be some trust involved. As the Rooster said, go ahead, say that stuff to me, D. You speaking that truth to me up in here. But yeah, you got to be able to do it. So I mean, they went, when KD left and then you had the injury, you're like, where's Golden State going to go? And it's crazy to say they're better off now than they were at that point. That's crazy. Like, you're talking about Kaminga. You talk about, these are a lot of, you mentioned Moody. I mean, I think people forget how good this kid was coming out. I mean, you think about this, how they've loaded with talent. And even if they had to move somebody, what that could do for getting a veteran player. I mean, they are in a really good situation at Golden State. And then now you got one of the best shooters ever coming back and who was highly motivated. You can see it. He ready to, like, okay, I heard what y'all been saying. Let me come on out here and let the streets know I'm back. That's the last thing you need to do. While we got the Lakers down there struggling, even though they my man Monk down there, like I said, my man Monk down there in L.A. putting them buckets up and doing what he need to do. And I saw Bradley down there playing a little bit. They got to play those guys a little bit more
Yeah.
down there. But Golden State is in really, really good hands. So I'm good with that. I
Well, about
want to.
Wiseman, one thing to let you know, he's got the meniscus tear. And he's
Yep.
rehab. I guess the rehab's not going as well, and then he sadly got put in COVID protocols. So yeah, I mean he's gonna come back, but they have that luxury again of when they've done the talent development of basically letting him, not rushing him back, and letting him come back with his best self and doing their thing. Yeah. So yeah, that's the bottom line. So it shows talent development, man.
All right, I want to end this segment with something that's been going on between us in the text message box. Now, Burrow and Chase, them two youngins have just continued what they got going from LSU. And they just like, it's some cats. It's like Stockton Malone. You know what I'm saying? There's some cats that just, is just tied at the hip. Yeah, in terms of people just having a feel for each other as well. And it seems like Burrow and Chase got their feel, and they got this AFC whatever North Championship. They won the division. I said I had to apologize because Orlovsky had Burrow in the top five. I wasn't quite sure. I'm gonna give him that 5 spot maybe on here. But then we had this conversation about the MVP. Because of all the stuff that just came up with A-Rod and everything, and then your boy from Chicago coming out with some buffoonery, but he's still a legendary journalist. So, but
He's a
we all
legendary. I'm
we all
calling
we
him
all
boy.
we all can make mistakes.
He's a
I
human
listen.
being.
He's a human being. He's a human being. They can all make mistakes.
He's reflecting our will of the people in Illinois. We think Aaron Rodgers should be indefinitely suspended right now. Just real talk. And we do, because this guy lied. No, D. Wills, this ain't no joking matter with Omicron. This guy lied about his vaccination stats, was around several people. The Omicron variant is, what's doing that? It's ravaging kids right now. I even read a report this morning. It's causing diabetes in young children, the Omicron variant. So this is not a laughing.
I'm not saying it's a laughing matter, but it doesn't decide whether or not you get the MVP.
That goes to
like
character.
that does, but
Character is
all
part
the
of
things you're
MVP.
saying that
MVP.
weighs about
It shouldn't be
5% on
on
the MVP vote. That has nothing to do with them all them touchdowns.
Wouldn't be on my-
That had
wouldn't be
nothing
on
to
my-
do with the fact that he owned the Bears. Like he said, he did the discount double check on y'all. It had nothing to do that his team has the best record in the NFC because of him, right?
Again,
But based on what he's done on the field, it ain't even close. It ain't even close. Now, all the stuff you saying, look, I was as critical of what he did, but that had nothing to do with MVP voting. That's why people's stuff got to get taken. Like, we talk all this junk, and we talk all this junk, and it's the reason why we got some of these cats, like you said, Young, and I'll go to you, like you said, it's the reason why we got T.O. sitting out when he should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer, because we got these people with this buffoonery out here. Youngin, weigh in, Youngin. Weigh in.
Weighing about Aaron Rodgers?
Let's weigh in about Burrow being who he is, but then I kind of threw in like he's everything, but he's not the MVP. But the Burrow Chase thing, I know you've been like, how are these cats just doing what they're doing?
Balling. Yeah, they took the connection from LSU and they were able to translate it to the league. And Jamar Chase is going to – I think Jamar Chase, you talk about Burrow being top 5. Jamar Chase is – he might be at the bottom end of that top 5 as well for the wide receivers. But, that's really all I have to say about it. They're just doing more of the same stuff that they've been doing. We already know they could do it, but now they're just – now they're manifesting it and showing it the next level.
They gotta get a lineman because Burrow's been sacked. Obviously not playing tomorrow, but he's been sacked 54 times. That's not sustainable. That's how he got hurt last time. Even though, like I said, we knew the debate was on draft day. Do you take Penny Sewell? They made the right pick, obviously.
No, they did the right thing.
Penny Sewell had a bad, but I think Penny Sewell ain't as bad. He's in Detroit. I mean, I think that. That's the problem. Detroit.
Penny Sewell's been playing great of late. He
played well in the season. But let's be real. In the beginning of the season, that brother was struggling. So, but I'll just say that again, the bottom line that I'm not gonna hide the fact that I'm a Chicago partisan. It will always be. It's that issue. But the guy, you suspend Antonio Brown for a federal offense. Don't be wrong. This is a federal crime for 3 games. And you got a guy running around talking about, I'm immunized. I've been doing all these special holistic medicines and running around and basically endangering people's lives. And you're not saying that guy shouldn't be, that guy doesn't get sanctioned. That guy gets to basically sit out because he positive for COVID. That's it. I mean, come on.
Hammer, all those things you say, I think all those things you say are great things to talk about. But at the end of the day, The numbers don't lie. I mean, okay? So they
Well,
decided
is
to
he
let
the
him
best
play,
player?
and when he on the field, he clearly the best player on the field. Man, come on now.
I agree.
I know you. I know you down there in Shy Village. I know you down there in Illinois. I know about 3 or 4 governors done gone to jail. I live down there. You
Yeah,
know
it's
me,
true.
Rock Vegas. What's up?
Yeah,
815. What's up? What's
yeah,
up to my
yeah.
to my boy up here, 16th and Chris? What's up? Get that food. Get that Machiavellian burger. I'm all in on that, man. But dang it, he balling. I don't even like him on McAfee show. I'm giving you all that. I think he's a little too sensitive. I think to have a Berkeley education,
Yes,
you
I
should be
think.
pulling this
I
crazy
think.
stuff. All the things you say is right on it. But my integrity is forcing me to say you still a baller. Because for football, for
I'm not
what you
saying he's
do
not a
between the
baller,
lines,
Devon,
what you do between the lines, that's MVP stuff. That's MVP stuff. That's what I'm saying.
because
And, and,
because
and,
as
and
To's talked about, I mean not To, as Darnell talked about with To, people do bring their personal biases in these votes. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's human.
no, I
And so
don't
I
think.
have no
I
problem.
think because sometimes I feel like
It's human.
because
It's
sometimes I
human.
feel like you the
We're
guy
human.
who did get picked in gym class, and this is your opportunity to get people
No,
back. That's what
no,
it comes off at. A
Hub's a
lot of these cats who are
national
writing
talent.
were the
Hub's
guys
a national talent.
where you know that you look you like I can't take you yet. You know how they used to do it, Darnell. When they used to do the dodgeball. You ever had to line up on the wall, and you had to count. You had to, you had 2 people be the captain and pick. You the last person picked. That's how they come off, and you could tell who was the last person picked because how petty they can be. I'm like, somebody did you wrong in high school, and now you got a chance to get them back. I just don't. That part I don't like. Because you lose validity on the real credible arguments. Now, this has come from somebody I actually respect and listen to a lot. So, I
This
mean,
is
I'm not going to say
emotional
that.
for Hub, man. You know, Hub is one of the best
But
minds.
that's why
You
Hub
don't
knew he
get.
was
Let me
wrong.
finish.
That's why he knew he was wrong.
You don't get picked for no. That's why he's human. You don't get to get picked on Westwood One sidelines for major games if you're a bum. So that's first of all, I don't hear Aaron Rodgers stuff about it. It's a California mess, and that's why Aaron Rodgers, even though it turned out great for him, but imagine him in San Francisco with Jim Harbaugh. Oh my goodness, that's all I gotta say. It might have been history would have been changed. History would have been changed, man. But these are the reasons why he slipped 23 spots on draft. When I was in DC watching that draft, I saw my man just slipping, and people like Cedric Benson, who I would have taken Rodgers over Cedric Benson in a second. But this guy was slipping through all these picks, and then all of a sudden Green Bay snoops up and gets the successor to Brett Favre. There's a reason why he slipped, because he is a poor
That one right
character
there is
guy.
less about Rodgers, more about the futility of the Bears front office when it comes to picking offensive players. I ain't gonna say defensive players; they get a lot
Well,
of them right, and I ain't gonna say offensive
I
linemen they
agree.
get
Yeah,
those
the
right.
Cedric Benson pick was
Running backs they get
terrible. That was
right.
terrible. But you know he's
The
dead
Cedric
now.
Benson and never getting a quarterback
It was a
right.
terrible pick. Yeah,
It
yeah. Greg
is.
Grossman was a terrible pick.
I mean, the last decent one they
Yeah,
had was
was
hardball. I mean,
we had Eric Kramer. Stop. Eric Kramer was really good, solid quarterback.
Eric Kramer
But
was
you
like
know
the
about
modern day. What's your boy with the beard? Right now, that's how Eric Kramer was like the modern day. What's your boy that
he wasn't Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick? He's like
I
the
give him
modern
Kirk
day
Cousins.
He's like
He
the
like Kirk
old school
Cousins.
Fitzpatrick. Come in and
No,
give you
he's
the
old Kirk
business.
Cousins.
He was with the
He's
Lions
Kirk
too for a minute.
Cousins.
Wasn't
Kirk
he?
Cousins.
Give you the
Then
business
him,
for a
Jeff
little bit.
Graham.
I
That was a nice team.
I'll call
Him,
Eric
Jeff
Kramer the
Graham.
microwave because he'll heat up for a minute, but then that stuff was gonna go salty. Nah, don't go get crazy with that. Now, when you reaching for Eric Kramer, we know we in trouble in Chicago. This is where this is all coming from,
We
youngin.
had a good run with the
This
Bears.
is where it's all coming from. It's overall hate. It's haterade, right?
This is like Hammer saying
I don't like
Virginia is a
Rodgers.
good
I
program.
can't lie about that.
Would you say, youngin?
I also think that what he
Would you
did
say?
was not. I don't like Rodgers.
So what did I
I've
say?
never denied that.
Would you say?
But
Would you
also,
say
I think what he
Darnell?
did.
It's like Hammer said what?
I said this Eric Kramer conversation was like when Hammer said that Virginia is a good program, man. Josh Gattis
It's an excellent program. It's a really good program.
Excellent program.
It is. Whatever. You trying to tell me Virginia's not a good program? So
It's
you tell me
not where
Virginia's
I'm
not a
going to
good
tell him to
program?
go. It's not where I'm
So,
going to tell him to go if I'm Gaddis. I'm like,
okay.
what? You can
So
wait, brother.
Josh
Just wait.
Gaddis. So Jim Harbaugh can leave the NFL tomorrow, and Josh Gaddis could be the successor. And he should
I
have
don't
went
think
to
he'll be a
Virginia.
successor though. I don't think you think that he'll be a successor.
I think Jim Harbaugh set it up that way because of what he said to the media when he said Josh Gaddis is going to be a head coach in 2 years. He was real specific about that. He said 2 years. I was like, oh shoot, he might be
Yeah.
setting something up.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell Gaddis got his respect. I mean, Gaddis was one that would go head up with him, and so I think their relationship has grown a lot. All
Yeah,
right,
it's
y'all,
grown.
we gonna wrap this up. We've been going hard. It's right now for me
I'll tell
7
you right now,
o'clock here
Eric
on the far
Kramer in
west coast.
1995, 29 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. We have Rashawn Salam, Robert. Man, this is the old.
That's some Fitzpatrick. I'm gonna give it to you for a short period of time, and
This
I'm
was in
out.
1995.
But
1990. This is when
for
come
one
out. This is
year, what did he do in
1995.
1996? What did he do in 1994?
Now and then you had Jeff Graham and Curtis Conway were our nice tandem. This is a nice club. We're talking about where we go in this. And when we went 9-7 under Weinstein. This is a good ball club. It's a good ball club. This is what I mean. This is
The
better.
one
than
thing
we
I
have
would
now.
tell you is y'all have consistently seemed to have done well when y'all had a defensive head coach. So that might be something for y'all to look forward to.
Oh, I want
Weinstein,
again.
Lovey.
Well, I mean, I want Harbaugh, but probably Eberflus is going to be the pick if I had to bet. Eberflus, and our guy, I'll drop a name for you, Lee Allen Jones. He thinks Desai is going to be the coach, which is a really interesting thing. Everything he's predicted has been right. So he said Ryan Pace is going to be president of operations. That's happening. So about it might be Desai. Watch, because what's the great thing about the Bears team right now? The defense is balling. Robert Quinn's a beast. Roquan Smith's a beast. So my man Lee Allen Jones knows his stuff, man. You should get him on this show.
Oh yeah. Lee Allen, he knows
You should
his
get him on this
sports.
show.
He be
That brother
good cat.
talk.
He come in here and break it
And
down.
he
But
broke down everything. He broke down the reason why they're gonna pick Desai. He broke down all of our personnel. We had like a 2-hour conversation. I couldn't say nothing. Like this show, I'll go back and forth with y'all. This brother was dropping so much knowledge. I was just like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what I was saying. I had nothing to say. I was like, yes, sir.
we'll bring him on. But with that statement, it's fitting to say that the more things change, the more they remain the same here in Chicago. All right, we're going to drop the mic and take it on home. Hammer, we're going to start with you because sometimes when we end with you, you be taking us in the hole. I'm going to end with the youngin'. You know, youngin's like a good preacher. He going to end this on with hope. You be taking me another. So I'm going to start with you and drop the mic.
Well, I'll get inspirational message then. Dropping the mic. We know that tomorrow is going to be the end of the Matt Nagy era. Even though I don't drink, I might buy some champagne and pop it just for that reason. But let's not kid ourselves. The real problem in Chicago Bears, why we are a national laughing stock, people know it, is the McCaskies. And that's why they say in-laws always ain't great, y'all. because the McCaskies have ruined the Chicago Bears to the point where we're a laughing stock of the league. And so I hope one thing I hope for this wonderful year is that please sell Chicago Bears McCaskies. The taxes are the tax implications are great now. You can make a lot of money. Sell it to a Jeff Bezos. Somebody's going to do something and turn this culture around Chicago that's been miserable for the past. The culture of losing, the culture where a man can say to I own you and you can't clap back because you know it's right. That's the problem with Chicago. And like I said, I see great things in Chicago. Remember, I'm a Cubs fan. We could have been in a story I tell you about. My drop of the mic is that about 50 years ago, a guy called up. He said, "Will I ever see the Cubs win a championship?" And the kid was like 12 years old, and the host was just real. He's like, "I don't know." Now we won that championship at 16, and I think we can turn this around. And they can turn around Detroit. I'll talk about Detroit. There will be days when Detroit will turn around because you have to have hope. That's the bottom line. But hope only happens when you have the right people in place. And the McCaskies, Ted Phillips, Ryan Pace, Matt Nagy need to go. Peace.
Thank you, thank you. I'll go and then I'll have the young and go last. We let the young cat go last. I'm going to say I was talking about the Steelers and really enjoying what happened. But one of the things I realized watching that telecast is Snoop is a national treasure. When I think about where he's come from, if you had a chance to go back and listen to him when he was with Peyton and Eli, it just reminds you of, for a generation, for all of us, how important and how someone can evolve over lifetime and just be a national treasure. I can rarely watch anything that Snoop does with sports and just not be in tears. His timing is impeccable. He just brings a whole level of class and validation to it. Like, he just brings something that you just know you are in a really important moment. And I think somebody just need to hire Snoop just to do sports stuff because. But when I think about where he came from, I mean, I remember when I first had him on the scene, and he was kind of this quiet, hell of an MC, but he wasn't as extroverted as he is now. And you watch the growth. The fact that some of these cats we've watched are now becoming grandparents, are establishing their own brands. It was just so great. My fellow Steeler Nation fan, Snoop Dogg, just love seeing him, and just like many things, continue to watch him well in this. But Snoop is a national treasure, boy. We have to embrace this brother while he's here because he brings so much to it. He just reminded me of that when I was watching him on Monday Night Football as we were saying goodbye to Ben at Heinz Field, who's given us so many great memories. So, all right, to the youngin' to wrap us up, take us home.
All right, so on Tuesday, we had LSU versus Kansas State, and going back to another conversation we had earlier about Georgia with the COVID issues, I was saying there's no way in the world this game is going to be canceled. But on another note, LSU only had like 35, 39, something like that, players active for this game. And instead of burning the red shirt for Nussmeier, I think his name's Garrett Nussmeier, the freshman, they end up playing their wide receiver, John Trey Kirkland. He played quarterback in this bowl game. And in true Pop Warner fashion, he ended with he ended up going 7 for 11 with 138 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, and he ran for 61 yards, 5.5 yards a carry. So he was out here doing everything as a quarterback. But on the other end, we saw Deuce Vaughn, really shifty, really elusive back. And this would be an interesting thing if he's draft eligible. He's a guy that I'd like to see the Lions possibly pick up third, fourth round, something like that. Be a change of pace for DeAndre Swift is another piece for him. But other than that, yeah, I just wanted to bring this up because LSU they only had 30-something players on their team, and they ended up going on and playing with a wide receiver at quarterback. And yeah, that was just something interesting for you guys. But this has been RSG, one mic, Darnell dropping the mic.
Yes, today. Yes, today. As we start the show, this one mic. We hail. And boom. There is a pause throughout the stadium as this man sounds like he just coughs up a lung. They're looking around. The Jumbotron shows and pans the cheerleaders, and as it goes down each cheerleader's face, each one breaks up into laughter, which at this particular time destroys half the stadium. The other half is still trying to figure out what the hell just happened. Does this guy need CPR or something? And then at that particular time, I lost it. Devon Truck. Yes, today.
Blog Talk Radio.
Show this one mic.
Phoenix is another place. They got a great training staff.
I mean, they were able to breathe life back into Shaq. And you can do that. You know, people talk a lot about this kind of stuff. Yes, today, you know, as we start this show, this one mic.
So that's Doug Nussmeier's son, Garrett Nussmeier, right?